All right, everybody, welcome back. We got a special guest, Belfry coach Matt Varney. If you're here, that means you've had a great season. You know, football season over in basketball, but with this time of year, we always like to release our all-mountain football list, and we had you coach of the year this year for the great job you and your staff did, the great job your team did. I guess starting off, just kind of give us a little what you thought about this season, kind of what I know you ultimately you want to win a state title, but still doesn't mean you didn't have a great season.
Yeah, and thanks for having me on here, and thanks for that accomplishment. But like you said, I had great players, and we have a great staff. Without that, I mean, coach of the year wouldn't be here. I mean, it's all about them.
Yeah.
Because our players done well. You know, they did what we asked them to do. We got better every week. Like you said, we didn't meet our ultimate goal. Our goal was to win a state championship. We won the regional championship, made semifinals, and we had a great year. But we wanted to win that state, and I think we were capable of doing that. But not to take away from our season, because we did. We had a great year, and I'm so proud of the way our guys have come together this year. You know, it was a tough year losing coach, and we had lost dad. We had the flood in our area. It was a tough year, and our guys got stronger from that. They come together and put together a nice season, especially our seniors. You know, going out that way for the things they've done for our program and for our community. I'm just so proud of them.
Mm-hmm. As a coach, just kind of talk about you mentioned it, but how proud you are of your guys, but all the adversity, everything that these guys been chasing that state title. I know they've been close, the last couple seasons. They wanted to get it done this year. But, that doesn't always happen. But just talk about, that adversity, the way they faced it, the way they came together. They were playing for more than themselves. As a coach, is that really what you're looking for?
Yeah, you want to see your players grow as football players and ultimately grow as young men. And I think they did that. They had to do that. Through the adversity they faced off the field, adversity they faced on the field. But they did a really nice job of coming together, and it was a great group to coach. And like I said, we want to win a state championship. That's what our goals are. Our goals are not just to win a district or a region. Our goal is to win a state championship. We didn't do that, but these guys have had a great career, especially our seniors. They've had a great 4 years. A lot of them are 3 and 4 year starters. They've been, we've been in semifinals last 2 years, won regional championships, but like you said, they faced a lot of adversity. They grew up from that, become young men, and we're so proud of them. And look, from here on out, the things that they're going to do in their futures are, we're looking so forward to seeing what they're doing in their lives.
Yeah, you mentioned that senior class. Just kind of talk about that chemistry. I thought when I was there, you could see it. They liked each other. They like rooting on each other. If somebody scored a touchdown, there wasn't, oh, why didn't I get the ball? Right. Hey, let's go celebrate. Let's pick this guy up. If somebody fumbles, let's get around him. Let's rally. Talk about that as a coach and how big that is to see a team come together the way you guys did.
Yeah, they did, and they push each other, and then these guys had a great time playing football. They loved it. They come to practice and worked hard every day. They had a good time in the locker room. They had a good time on the bus, on trips, good time to sit around talking to us. And they're a great group of kids that we're going to miss, and not just on the field, off the field. But they like each other and play for each other, and they help these young guys come along. I watch some of these old guys that would sit and help coach these younger ones. People like, Caden Varney. I'd watch him with these young receivers, and he would show them. And Chase done a nice job with the young quarterbacks. I know he did with my son in particular. He worked with him and just showed him things on reads and things that we didn't have to. That he, and sometimes they'll listen to the players before they will coaches. But these guys in Bo, these young linemen, he brought these young linemen along. We got a lot of young linemen, and I could go down the line, every one of these seniors. Even when JJ got hurt, he was still on the sideline, getting these guys going and talking to them. Even he was an unsung leader. He didn't say a lot, but when he did, people listened, and he did that a lot on the sideline, even after his injury. And he done a good job. I'm so proud of him and the things he done, and all these seniors. But I could go across the board on all of them.
Yeah, and you had a great class. You mentioned Bo. Just talk about what a special year that was, and he got that huge award at the end of the year, the first ever Philip Haywood Offensive Lineman of the Year. how fitting is that for him and this squad? Because it's not just about him as an offensive lineman, but that says the rest about the guys around him. He's probably the leader. Talk about how fitting that is, and how good that is to see your guys getting that recognition as top players around the state. A lot of all states are going to start coming out. Our all mountains are going to come out, and your guys are going to get a lot of recognition. Just talk about how good that feels knowing your guys. People see the work they're putting in.
Yeah, and Bo's a great lineman. He's a 4-year starter. It's hard to do. I mean, coming as a freshman and start for 4 years, and he's done a nice job working on himself. But he got the Coach Haywood Kentucky Lineman of the Year, which was fitting because he and Bo being able to play for Coach and then getting that first year award they named after him was that's something special in itself. But Bo done a great job, getting All-State last 2 years. He got second team All-State last year, first team this year. But, and like you said, it's not just Bo. That whole offensive line, they come together. They worked hard together every day. Coach Anthony Tackett does a great job with them. He is a great coach, and from how he brings them along throughout a season is unreal. The knowledge that he has, I know they wouldn't be as successful, and we wouldn't without him. But he does a really good job, and these guys play hard for him. But it's just all about working and getting getting a little better every day with them. And, we've had a lot of good linemen come through our program over the years, and they still are. But we take pride in that and pride in our linemen. But and I told them out throughout the year, we go as you go. So if we don't have them and they're winning the line of scrimmages on both sides of the ball, we're not going. But that's a big thing throughout the year. What we told them that we go as far as you go.
Yeah, and I think they, like you said, they set the tone on both sides. You want to win that line of scrimmage. You want to be more physical guys. That helps wear people down. As you know, I don't have to tell you the draft, but just kind of talk about you. I thought you said some good stuff about Coach Tackett, but it's not just one coach like that. No, you've got a whole staff of guys who you can just trust and let them do their thing, and talk about how big that is because you guys trust each other. Most of you guys have been together for a while, and I think that reflects on your all as a staff. The way you all get along.
Yeah, we have a lot of staff members that's been there for years. I could go down the line: Coach Castle, Coach Chapman, Coach Wright. I mean, and most of us played for Coach Haywood. I'd say the majority of our coaches played for Coach, and we've been together so many years. And when you've got a staff that works as hard as they do, a staff that is loyal, and that staff that could have went other places and been head coaches, but chose not to, chose to stay there and be a part of this community and work with these kids and make them better every day and make this, it's something special that we have. You don't see that a lot. You don't see a lot of coaches, a lot of coaches will want to go off and it's about them. Our coaches, it's not. It's not about them. It's about us. And they, and our program wouldn't be as successful as it has been without men like this and the loyalty that they've shown over the years, the hard work that they put in. And the desire and the dedication they have for our school and for our community.
Yeah.
But it's something special to be a part of.
Absolutely. And I think that's another thing that you just mentioned, community, the way everybody there buys in. You see guys who played years ago coming back, they're rooting on guys. Yeah. You got guys who've now, they played for Belfry. Now their kids are playing. Or, talk about how big that is because it means something to that community there. Yeah. Everybody just wants to see the betterment of the team. They want to see the guys get better. And they're always there, whether up or down, they're right there for those kids. I mean, talk about how big that is because you don't find that everywhere.
Right. And our community support is great. We, like you said, I'm coaching guys now that I coached their fathers, and Coach Haywood was at a point where he was coaching grandkids that he had coached. But he, and it's just a cycle. It's a culture. You got to have that culture, and it's taken quite a few years to do that. But the culture of our Belfry community, our football team falls right in that, and it's expected. And people say, when I first started this, they said, you got some big shoes to fill, and you got this, and you got that, but it's the culture. And Coach Haywood was one of those that developed, and there's coaches before him, Coach Roddy, and people like Coach Vipperman, and they set those expectations, and our community, that they want that, and they love that, and they give you the support. They love Belfry football, and they love to win. But that's and that's part of it. But we're it's better than having a community that don't care, or a community that doesn't care if you get beat, or people say that some people get upset with us if we get beat, or this or that. I said I'd rather them be upset at that and be there watching and be at home and don't care. And I know Coach always said that too. But it's part of it. But we embrace it as a team, as a program, and as a school, and our community does as well.
Yeah. You're going back to the the season a little bit, and LCA ended up winning the state title. You were right there with those guys. Just talk about, hey, you mentioned a little bit, but if the ball bounces one way or the other,
Yeah.
it might have been you guys there at Kroger Field. Just knowing that you guys were right there with those top teams, and that's where you want to be. How good did that feel? I know the losing part didn't feel, but knowing that you were right there with that team that we ended up winning the state title, and that you gave them everything they wanted and more.
Yeah.
That's got to feel good that your team listened to you. They stayed on focus and stayed on plan. Just as a coach, just talk about that if you can.
Yeah. And with the game at LCA, we felt like we were, even when we got to the top four, we felt like we were as good or better than any top four team that were in 2A. And I think our kids did too, and we played like that. We had some, things happen throughout that game, through the LCA game, that didn't bounce our way. When you have learned over the years, even when we've won our championships, ball's got to bounce a certain way sometimes. A couple of times it didn't bounce our way. But I was so proud of our kids that they learned, and it could have been from, dealing with coaches passing, or dealing with floods, or dealing with, we played Johnson Central. We had to face a lot of adversity, but we got down, a couple touchdowns against the LCA, come back and actually took the lead in the fourth quarter. And I was so proud of our guys for doing that. They had shown such growth and overcoming adversity that I don't know that they would have done earlier in the year, but they did it then. And we gave ourselves opportunity to win the game at the end, and the ball didn't bounce certain ways. A couple of different things happened throughout that game that just didn't go our way. But and taking nothing away from LCA, they're a great team, great football team. They deserved it. But I felt like we were just as good or better than any of the teams in the Final Four, and had a great opportunity to win a state championship.
Yeah, and you mentioned Johnson Central, but you played so many great teams this past season. Talk about that schedule and how that prepares you, because some people might look at your record like some years I remember back in the years Belfry might have been 5-5 and win going into the postseason, end up winning a state championship.
Right.
Just kind of talk about how these really good teams prepare you for this playoff push, because sometimes the regular season you go and face some teams that maybe you learn something from that you can take with you. Just kind of talk about that schedule, because Johnson Central, you took a little bit of a lump there. No shame in that. They only had one loss this season. They were right there 4A. But just talk about that schedule and playing a tough schedule to prepare yourself.
Yeah, and that's what we've always done. It's what we always want to do, and that's what we want to play hard teams that get us ready. It doesn't you can, if you go undefeated and you get beat first, second round of playoffs, because you didn't play a tough schedule, what good is that? We went, and for example, in 21 we were 0-5, and won a state championship. But you got to keep believing. But and that's what we want to do our schedule, like playing John Central. Why not play a great team, a great program like John Central has, and face some adversity? Get hit in the mouth a little bit, going through games and not getting it. You're not going to get any better. So we try to make our schedule as tough as we can, and especially with the RPI, you don't have no chance to. If you don't, your seed's not going to be very good. So you want to play good teams, and that's why we played John Central and Pikeville. Pikeville's always a good match for us, and helps us, and Louisville Central and East Carter had a nice team this year. Had one of the best running backs. Probably the best running back we faced all year was East Carter running back this year. But went down there and played. But we look forward to those games too, and want to get better. So when playoff time does come rolling around, when you face people like Breathitt County, that you're going to get a good game from, because they're a physical and tough team, and you got to be able to play teams throughout regular season. That's going to get you ready for that. Because if you don't, if that's the first time you're getting punched in the mouth, you're in trouble. And that's like Mike Tyson said, how are you going to react when you get hit in the mouth? So you want to get hit in the mouth some throughout the year, You want to get punched around and banged around and play really hard teams, and that's what we try to do.
Yeah, and that prepares you
Yeah.
for like that LCA when you
Yeah.
come back in.
Yeah, and that's like he'll say, we got punched in the face. But we got right back up and punched them. And you know, like I said, a couple things didn't work out for us, and I think it was a difference in the ball game. But like I said, I'm proud of our kids, how they have fought things like that and learned throughout the year and got better.
Yeah, and you know, like we said, tremendous year. You all had so many great seniors, so many great players. But once the season stops, it don't really stop for you guys because you got to start worrying about next season. And you know, the work in the off season is huge. Just for people who don't know, like, what's your all's off season workout schedule? Because I'm sure some of these guys are playing other sports, but you still want to see them and putting the work in. You know, how long of a break do you give some of these guys, and then how soon does a program like Belfry get in the weight room?
Well, our weight training classes never stop. It's year round, except for the dead period. And then we'll get a little bit off during Christmas break. But our weight training classes haven't stopped. We never stopped even, you know, we got beat on a Friday. We were working out on Monday. So we don't, you know, our weight training never stops. We got to be a strong football team, and we're constantly going to do that. We'll start up some more workouts here after Christmas, start off our speed agility workouts throughout the spring and get into our spring football. But like you said, it never stops. You can't stop. When we got kids that wrestle, we got kids that play baseball, we got kids right now playing basketball, and they need to do that. We want all of our kids to play multiple sports. And if they're not, they're going to be with us doing things. If they're not with us, they're with other sports doing it. But you got to, but to play at the level that we play at and want to play and compete at, you got to train. You got to get better. It's not you show up in July and expect to win. You got to, you know, like I said, we started the week after we got beat. We're still lifting. And we're going to continue to do that. We're going to continue to do it as soon as we get back off Christmas break, or we're going to go start working hard again in our off-season workouts that are after-school workouts.
Yeah, and speaking about, you know, I'll try to wrap it up here pretty soon. I got a couple more for you, but speaking of, you know, coaching being a full-time job, full year round, so I think you got some guys this year who are talented enough to go play at the next level.
Uh-huh.
A lot of people don't understand that you play a role in that. You're trying to help these guys get contacts with college coaches. You're making sure that, say we'll take Bo Wolford, for example, because I'm sure he's got a few offers.
All right.
Say he's very interested in playing. Just talk people through, because sometimes they don't understand that a lot of this stuff goes through the coaches like you guys and reaching out, making films or sending films or whatever a college coach may want. You guys kind of give them the information, the tape, whatever.
Yeah.
Just kind of talk people through that, because I don't think a lot of people knows the job that you coaches do to get these guys to the next level.
Right. Yeah. And we have a lot of coaches call, you know, and take a lot of phone calls. And our players do a lot. They do some themselves too, as well. A lot of players put together their highlight films on Huddle and do things like that. And our school bought our football program. We bought a program that we can, we put all of our kids in it, and we have to go and put all their stuff in it. We can send it out to any school in America, and any school in America can look at their stuff. We will, and we'll have colleges come to school and talk. You know, we had some last week come in and talk to some of our kids. And hopefully we've got some that's going to go play next year. They're still deciding what they want to do and or if they want to play or what school they want to go play at. They have some options. But yeah, it's always good to see them to take that next step. But it's a process. Like I said, a lot of phone calls, a lot of emails that we do and talk to other people, and my assistant coach is involved in that as well. I have some people on my staff that play college football and have contacts. I know we talked to one yesterday about it, and hopefully some of those guys will reap from the benefits the hard work that they put in while they were playing for us, and can take this to another level.
Yeah. The last thing, and I'll let you go because I've been spending a lot of your time, Coach, and I appreciate it. But you know, you had a big senior class this year.
Mm-hmm.
What's the steps now? I mean, this is nothing new for you guys, but you know, for people who don't understand, like you lose a big senior class, how tough is it to start getting these new guys ready to step up? Is that because I know at Belfry, a lot of times you guys, use some of the regular season games to get some of the guys work and see what they can do and stuff. Just kind of talk about how you get some of these guys starting getting ready for, stepping up into new roles next year.
Right, like you said, we had a really good senior class, and we're losing a lot of good players. But you got to move on. You got to start working, which we have. We do a good job. Our coaches do a good job. We get a lot of experience, and like you said, they got a lot of experience this year in our games. We played a lot of young kids in our games this year. So I'd say 5 or 6 games they played as much as our starters did. So they got a lot of experience this year, and they're getting. We put them in high pressure situations in practice. If they can handle those high pressure situations in practice, it's a whole lot. Trust me, it's a whole lot higher pressure in our practice most of the time than it is in a game. So we're putting them in those positions at a young age, at a freshman, sophomore level. And like I said, with the offseason workouts, they're getting as much as any older guy is too already anyway. It doesn't matter. As far as the weight training and our speed and agility stuff, they're always getting that. But they're getting pushed, and we push them as much as we do even in our practices. So as far as them practicing and them being pushed, nothing will change. It'll keep the same. Now that our older guys have more experience than they do, and that's some stuff they got to gain. And we've got good coaches that's developing them, working with them in the off season. We'll do a lot, like I said, in spring and in summer practice. But I look forward to the challenge. And I know our staff does as well, and our kids do a good job coming in. And being prepared and ready to go. And that's why we got, those games beginning of the year. Let them get hit in the mouth. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, learn a little bit every day and like we've always done, get better. And that's all we can ask for.
Absolutely. I think that's unless there's anything else you want to say, I think we'll wrap this up. And again, congratulations on the great season. Congrats on being named the Appalachian Newspaper's Coach of the Year. That reflects on you and your staff. So that just wants to say that you guys did a great job. Just a lot of respect for what you guys did this year. I know you didn't get your ultimate goal, but I still think, you had a great season.
Yeah, we did. And I appreciate you all having me over, and I appreciate your coverage of our team and promoting our kids. But, like you said, this was a team effort. Our team, our coaches, I'm so proud of the work that they put in, the work they did throughout the year. It was a great year and something for them to hold their heads high about. But thanks once again for everything you all have done.
I appreciate it, Coach. And for Corey Vance behind the scenes, I'm Randy White. Be sure to check us out on social media. We're doing the Facebook, the X or Twitter, whatever you want to call it now. The TikTok, we recently started one of those. Be sure to look on the lookout for our All Mountain Football complete list. That's comprised of the whole 15th region, most of the 14th region, Migo, West Virginia. There's so many teams on there, so many great players. Also, we'll have a volleyball one that will be Kentucky only, and I think our soccer All Mountain is Kentucky only as well. We didn't get as much information from our West Virginia teams. We'll try to pick that up next year and get more involved with those soccer teams next year. But for Coach Matt Varney, Corey Vance, I'm Randy White. Thanks a lot for checking us out.